Good morning. I um, I found Jamie on Instagram through a post that I did most recently, and Jamie was Jamie Straker. Is it Straker?
Straker, yeah.
Straker. I've Jamie was engaging on one of my posts when I had gave a tip about painting, how important it is to for the house to show well, and paint and color really plays an important role in the buyer's decision. And Jamie here just recently bought a house. She told me that she had been looking for a while and then finally found her dream home and purchased one. So I wanted to have Jamie on, Ask Nina, just to get the buyer's perspective. It is a very um, hot market right now. So a lot of people feel that people, meaning sellers, feel that they don't need to do a heck of a lot for the house to sell. But we're going to get Jamie, a brand new buyer and homeowner, most recently, and get her perspective on her house hunting experience. So welcome, Jamie. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I'm so glad I found you on Instagram.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's nice to chat with you.
It is. Thank you. So I know that you previously owned homes, and you moved from Edmonton, correct, to Ontario?
Yes.
Yeah. And so, and then you rented for a while. So how long have you, or well, you're still renting right now because you haven't closed, but how long have you been renting?
About a year now.
A year now. Okay. So
Yeah.
you've been looking for a house for about a year?
We started looking in maybe August.
August of this year. So
Yeah.
in the buyer's market, it still took you a while to find your home that you are moving into. So what were some of the things that you were looking for your family when you were house hunting?
We wanted to have enough space for us. So the house had to have enough space for us and also for my mom. She's hoping to move out here. So we needed some sort of space for her as well. We wanted it to be in our budget. A large yard. We wanted
Mm.
space for the kids to play outside, and we wanted it to be in a quiet location, so that we didn't hear the hustle and bustle of vehicles and our neighbors. We wanted to kind of have our own little oasis. And then we wanted the kids to be able to stay at the school that they're in right now. So,
Oh, lovely, lovely. And I understand that you have young kids.
yes, yeah, they're 4 and 6.
Excellent, excellent. And it'll be nice for your mom to come and live with you too. She's in Edmonton right now?
Yeah, so she's hoping to come back and forth, but just have a space where she can have her own space, right, in our house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lovely, lovely, lovely.
Mhm.
Yeah. So how many houses would you say you went and see?
Oh my gosh.
Many?
Yes. Yeah, we did look at lots.
So what were some of the, more memorable things that you saw when you were visiting these properties?
Uh, like in terms of good things, like,
Good things, bad things, like things that kind of stood out that.
mhm. I think that houses that it looked like people took care of them
Hmm.
was really important to us. That we felt a little bit more confident in even putting in an offer when it felt like the home was well cared for.
Hmm.
Um, we really loved when we could like picture ourselves in the home, and the yard was important to us. I remember one house we went into, it had like pet hair everywhere. Like
Oh,
even my socks came out, like I had pet hair all over my socks. It was all over their bedding. And I could just imagine how much it was like in the furnace vents. And it just didn't give me a good feeling. And I have a dog, so I understand pet hair. Like, but just when you're going to look at a home, for me, it needed to feel clean too.
so that turned you off of the
Yeah.
house. So you
Yeah.
didn't did you put an offer, considered putting an offer on that house?
That one I don't think we did. No.
No, yeah. So see, this is one of the things that I advise my clients to do when they're preparing to sell their house is, yes, definitely clean out all the pet hair. And during showing and during the time that the house is on the market, to bring their pet, elsewhere, like to an in-law, to the parents, to friends who are willing to take them in. Because you're right, like you have a pet yourself, you have a dog, and you understand pet hair, and yet it still gave you that feeling that there was going to be more to the house if you saw that much pet hair
Right.
everywhere,
Yeah. Or even
right?
like smells, right? Like that if it smelled really strongly of cat litter or it just again, it just didn't feel clean. So then you think, well, if I'm spending this much money, I want it to be, I don't know, a good value for my money. So
Of course, and homes are not cheap by any
no,
means these days.
no, right?
It's a quite an investment monetarily. So you're right. You want what you want, and you want the house that you're going to buy, that's going to be good and last a long time for your family, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even though like you think it's a hot market, but there's still like you're still gonna wait. If I'm spending at the top of my budget, I want to get the most that I can for my money. So I'm willing to wait a week or a month because there's always gonna be another house, right?
So true, so true. That's just the nature of the real estate market, is that there's always going to be homes for sale, and it just depends on how long you as a buyer want to wait for it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So what would you say were some of the deciding factors for you when you were house hunting? Like, what were some of the deal breakers? Obviously, that house with all the pet hair everywhere was an obvious deal breaker. But what are some of the other things that were deal breakers for you?
um, I think just how much we would have needed to invest into the home to get it to be what we wanted.
Hmm.
So the home that we ended up buying, it was ready to move in. Like we could just move right in and maybe a little thing here or there, but nothing needed to be done. Where there was lots of homes where we would have wanted to or would have had to have made renovations to get it to where we wanted, or even like we were talking about in that post,
Hmm.
painted the whole house. This one house, we saw the house that we bought and this other house at the exact same time, like they were just down the road from one another. And the house that we didn't buy, it was all painted blue. Every single room was a different shade of blue. And if you're not a blue fan, like that's a huge undertaking, having to repaint an entire house,
Right.
not just one room or one wall. It's like
The whole house.
the whole house, right?
Yeah.
So
And is your family, your husband, good at painting on your own, handy?
no,
So that's something that you would have had to hire somebody to do for you.
right. And just more time and money. And
Right.
then if you can find something else where you don't need to put in that time and money, then you go for that one, right?
Yes, of course. And seeing that you do have a young family, you have a busy young family, you wouldn't really have a lot of time to put toward, you know, bringing the house up to a standard that you would have wanted it,
Right.
right?
Or you're thinking about doing it while you're living in there, which is a huge inconvenience
Yes.
because you have to get from where you are living into the house that you're going to be living in. And if you can limit that transition time, right, that's also
Hmm.
beneficial. So
So that's amazing. So sellers, I hope you are listening, and I hope you are hearing what Jamie is having to share here, because the market, there's a huge number of young families and first time buyers. They don't have the time nor the energy to update the house. So the more you can make it move in ready, the better it will be to help you sell your house and help you stand out from the competitor. Because even in a seller's market, there are going to be competition. There are going to be other markets in the same block, in the same neighborhood, that are up for sale as well, right?
yeah, so
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
So, what would you say that were some of the things that you were willing to settle for, like when you were looking for the house, and what are some things that you weren't willing to settle for?
Um, kitchen to me was really important. It needed to be a kitchen that I wanted to spend time in. Like that is something that where I spend lots of my time
Mhm.
in our family. So for me, that needed to be a place that had lots of space for us as a family, and for us to enjoy, or for me to enjoy being in that space.
Right.
So a big open kitchen was important to us. The yard we talked about, yeah,
Mhm.
having a nice yard where the kids could play. Being outside is important to us. Yeah, I think we also like just having enough space without it being too much space. We looked at lots of homes where it had like the 3 bedrooms plus a suite or even a finished basement, but then we were looking at it had like extra bedrooms or all sorts of too much house for us, and
Oh,
that just
okay.
means more cleaning for me. So
Right. So you're just looking for the perfect house for you and
yeah,
your family. But
yeah.
what were some of the, often what buyers settle for in a house are minor things. But so what would you say that some of the things that you saw that wasn't perfect in the house that you bought, but you were okay with it?
So in this one, it doesn't have a full suite for my mom, and the basement isn't like completely finished,
Right.
but it has the possibility to be finished, and it's finished enough right now that somebody could spend time down there.
Hmm.
And there's a opportunity for us down the road to add in like walls for a bedroom or
Right.
a full bathroom. It's all roughed in.
Right.
Um, yeah, I think, what else did we decide on? I think you just give and take that the overall picture, you can picture
Hmm.
yourself being in there as a family.
Right.
For us. Yeah, so
Yeah.
we were willing to give up little things. Like maybe it's a
Yeah.
little further than we had wanted, but we'll give that
Right.
up to have the quiet street or
Yes. Well, people always say location, location, location. And one of those location is one of those things that people these days are settling for if they find the perfect house at the perfect price for their family. So you fit that mold perfectly. And excuse me, when you speak about the suite for your mom, I guess the reason why you settle for it is because it's secondary, like it doesn't impact your immediate family right away because your mom is not here quite yet, right?
great. Yeah.
But the areas that impact your family, like the yard and the open concept and the kitchen, those are some of the things that you weren't willing to settle for. So
Right.
that you are that ideal customer, that ideal house hunter that's out there in the market these days. So yeah. So I really thank you for you joining me today and just giving us a little bit about the buyer's perspective. Like I said earlier, people, sellers these days just don't feel like they need to do very much given how hot the market is and that it's a seller's market. But you have really proven that the buyer's point of view is still very important on how successful the house can sell for.
Yeah.
There are sellers or buyers that are not like you. They are willing to settle for a little bit more. However, they're going to be wanting a pricing concession, right? Because
True. Yeah.
if if they are going to have to do that work themselves, then they're going to not be willing to pay that top dollar for it. So it's important to always put your best foot forward and get the house in as move ready state as possible. So now,
Yeah, because you want to
Jamie,
be memorable, right? You want to be
yeah,
memorable in people's mind, but for a positive thing, a positive feeling that people get in your house, not for those little things. Because you see lots of houses, and if you pop up in somebody's mind for that little negative thing, that's how your house is going to be remembered. And it's not worth a bidding war, getting into a bidding war over, in my opinion.
yeah, excellent, excellent, excellent. Thank you so much for sharing your perspective with us today. Now, Jamie, I know that you have a business. You're a business owner yourself. Why don't you give us a little bit of information about what it is that you do?
Hi, awesome. So I teach or run online pre and postnatal fitness classes. So specific for women who are in pregnancy or looking to get back into fitness postpartum, and then further. So they're looking to push their fitness to the next level after they've recovered postpartum. So I have lots of specific training to help women during those stages so that they don't have to question what's safe, what's not safe, how do I move my body, how do I prepare for birth. That's all covered in all of my classes, and they're all online and accessible to anybody at any time. There's recordings and live classes and courses.
Oh,
And yeah.
that's amazing. That's amazing. So is this a brand new business, or and has it always been an online program?
Yeah, so I had an online or a pre and postnatal fitness studio in Edmonton, and then we moved out to Kingston. So I started online in September. So
Okay.
fairly new business. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I hope everything is going well, given that everything pretty much is online these days. So I hope
Right.
that your business is going well, and good luck with everything with your brand new home. When are you expected to move in?
Not until May. So we have a long,
Oh,
long wait.
okay. Long wait, but it's coming. It'll come
Yeah.
very, very quickly. So thank you
Yeah.
so much again for for joining me today. I really appreciate your perspective.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.